Hey there yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my living room in Vancouver, Canada. So welcome. Today is Saturday, March the 28th, 2020 and this is video 42. So I am in a different part of my living room as you may have guessed, and I am here in the corner to showcase where I've hung my beautiful gift that I got from my fiber friend who crafted it and sent it to me for my birthday. So doesn't that look wonderful? So yeah, I've hung it up here and I thought I'm going to do a recording in the corner here so that you can see where I've put it. Love it so much. I have also some finished works to show, some works in progress, and I also have been gifted a present from one of my family members who sent me a fiber gift. Yay! Thanks for supporting my fiber journey. Those people who have just joined in and are thinking, oh, I wonder what this channel's all about. I am Gary and I've set this channel up to explore my yarn journey. So that's all things knit, crochet, and I am dabbling in a little bit of hand dyeing yarn. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and think about subscribing. That'd be great. And to all those subscribers and fiber friends returning, welcome back. Great to see you. And I hope everyone is doing well in this strange world that we have right now in lockdown, or if you are, I guess, practicing your safe distancing from everyone else. Yes, it is essential that we do adhere to the rules, and I have put myself in lockdown as well for the remainder of, I guess, 3 days to go for 2 weeks. So we're almost at 2 weeks of being at home. So if you hear life noises, it's hubby and I in the apartment. It's not a very big apartment. So yeah, you might hear some conversations happening in the background or some noises in the kitchen. So you'll understand where they're coming from. So let's get stuck into some finished items. So finished item number one is, this was on my needles the last time that I was recording about my whips, and it's called the Compass Cowl by Tin Can Knits, and I absolutely enjoyed working this up. So each of the strips here with the color work patterning kept my attention, that I was enjoying learning each of the rhythmic rows of repeats and utilizing two-finger knitting, which is a combination of continental and English knitting style. And occasionally I want to do the drills on not forgetting how to use the two styles together when I'm working up knitting. So I loved this as a reminder to how to do that two-style knitting. And the finished item, I'm showing you where the join was, but this is a side that doesn't have the joining in the rounds. It just worked up really nicely. I love it. So I'll put it on so you can see. It's not the loosest cowl, but it is one that has great structure. So if you were to wear this along with say a jacket or windbreaker or a winter jacket, it adds a little pop of color and it is really comfortable. There's no itch to these yarns that I put together and combined, and so no undergarment required. Just love it. It's so squishy, and what I had used was a combination of a 2-weight yarn and a series of 3-weight yarn. Even though that they were different classifications of yarn, they worked up okay. It hasn't been washed or blocked yet, so there is a little bit of wrinkling in the fabric. So I used sport weight wool and acrylic blend from Knit Picks in the colorway called Camel Heather, and then 3 different varieties of Michael's Loops and Thread in their series that they have called Meandering Serpentine, And the colors that I chose were the mint, the tangerine, and down here is a purple that was in a mini hank, a set of mini hanks, and they did not give each of the mini hanks a colorway name, I believe, so I don't know. It's just a purple, and that was classified a 3 weight. So I'll just show you a little bit about the pattern. It's a paid pattern that I will link the book that it was published in down in the description box. And this is a book from Tin Can Knits called, what is it called? Strange Brew. And so this is the colorway that they had chose in the book. So more of a beige with like a different colors to what I used. Yeah. And that is a great publication too if you're interested in patterns that are colorwork sweaters, or they also have a series of hats that you could do colorwork testing in, and I'm thinking of doing some of the colorwork hats that they have in that book. So the next project that's finished, project number 2, is, excuse me while I reach over here. Okay, I saw, who was it that did it? Rose from Rose Likes Crochet had done this shawl. It's called the Dragon Belly Shawl. And I also saw Kit from All Things Crochet and Knit with Kit. She has started her Dragon Belly Shawl as well. So I thought, I'm going to give this a go. So it's a crochet, 2-row repeat, and it's a free pattern. And this is how it came out. So I believe I started here on the darker corner, and I crocheted along until I got to the end of the yarn or the cake, and then I realized I didn't have enough yarn to do a border. So the pattern actually calls for doing some border treatment, and I thought, well, I'll do the pattern again, and I'll do it with a larger cake that I will devote some of the cake to the border. Whereas I just kept going and going with this until the cake was all finished, and I thought, now I don't have anything for the frame or the bordering. Absolutely love it. And it was done in a super fine weight, so it does have beautiful drape, and I'll just show you how it looks worn. Ooh. There we go. And it's so airy and easy to wear, and it's not itchy at all. And let's talk a bit about the yarn. I had used Red Heart It's a Wrap Rainbow, and it is, as I said, was a super fine #1 classified yarn, and the colorway is Couture. And I had used a 4.5 crochet hook, 4.5 crochet hook with this. And what I noticed about using this particular yarn was, because they have 4 strands throughout the whole cake that you work up held together, there's no twist in the strands, so the strands are actually quite fluid and can separate easily. That occasionally I would notice that I would miss collecting all 4 of the strands to do my single crochets or my next, what's it called, the double crochet through the, the front post double crochet. Sometimes I would lose a strand and then notice it like a couple of stitches later that there's this big loop, and I would have to rip it back to the point where I lost the strand and then recollect it again. So I'm going to choose a different type of yarn for my next Dragon Belly Shawl, and I'm not going to do the separate strand one. I'm going to have the one full strand. So that might make the crocheting a lot quicker. I just love it. So an ideal weight for this shawl, the Super 1 classification, is good for summer. So I can see this being worn like on summer evening, or even, you know, spring day, autumn. It could be used in autumn, and it just gives texture, a nice lovely texture, as the name of the pattern suggests. It's kind of like a scaling or some sort of mail chain looking lace work, and also the ridging, how it undulates. Beautiful, beautiful pattern there. So the pattern, as I mentioned, the Dragon Belly Shawl by Johanna Lindahl, and I'll link where you can get it from, and I believe it's on Ravelry. Another nice thing about doing a light shawl like this is if you are traveling somewhere, well, not right now, but if you go on a holiday, you can squeeze this in to such a small shape. When you're packing, you can fold it up, and it takes up maybe the size of a pair of woolen socks, and you have a full garment when you're traveling, and it's very light, so great for travel. Now, the third item that I completed was this beanie here, and I used Ferris Wheel Evergreen, so that's the ball band, Ferris Wheel Evergreen from Lion brand, and it's classified a 4 weight, although I think it's quite a thinner weight, maybe I would say a 3. Excuse me. And it didn't use a whole cake. I had a little bit left over from working with this one here on a scarf, so I would say it was probably half the cake. And what drew me to this pattern was the fact that the decrease works out to be this beautiful wheel formation, almost like a spider's web, where it generates from the center crown, and it just, all these spokes come out from the center, a little bit like a wheel, and they create the ridging throughout the beanie. It calls for a couple of inches, which you may or may not want to do, of the 1x1 ribbing. So it can be either rolled up, which is how I kind of like to wear my beanies, that you have a little bit of a cuff, or you could work the pattern all the way to the very edge as well. So those are some kind of variations that you could do with the pattern. Now, I got this pattern from Ravelry as well, and it's a free pattern. It's called the Vanilla Bo-Beanie Beanie, and I will link that down in the description box below. They're actually suggesting it is a slouchy hat as well, so when you wear it, you could potentially not roll it up and have the beanie kind of like at the slouchy hat at the back, which is kind of not how I wear my hats anyway, but or you roll it up and you can wear it a little bit more as a beanie, like a little bit more sort of fitted. I really like that. Get my hair out of the way. Here you go. I didn't realize I'd be like switching out all of these garments. I love it. It's a little bit of dress up. So that's item number 3. Item number 4 was a little bit of a inspiration from a previous work that I had completed a couple weeks back, maybe even a month ago. So here it is here. So I had done the cowl portion of this set a couple weeks back, and I was learning how to do the herringbone stitch, which is this one here. Maybe I'll go on this side so it doesn't blow out. The herringbone stitch is this one. And I thought, I really like the combination of the stitch work in this cowl. I wonder what it would look like in a beanie. So I'll just show you what this looks like. I'll put it on. And there we go. So here's what I came up with. So I did a ribbing on this beanie, and then I changed into the herringbone, and then I just did stockinette, and then I did herringbone again, and I decreased in divisions of 6. So I didn't mind how it turned out. There's no pattern that I have made for this hat or this cowl, but I'm not really getting inspired to write patterns. I don't think I'm there yet, and yeah, but that's not to say that I might not look back at some of these experiments and utilize them in other works in the future and maybe create some patterns. I wouldn't really know how to begin to make patterns anyway, to be honest. So that completes my finished works. Now I'm going to showcase. Oh, is she going to fall over? There we go. Now I'm gonna show a little bit of what I'm working on. So works in progress. I am doing another compass cowl, and I'm gonna do just 2-tone. Oh, and I've lost a couple of stitches here. There we go. Get those back on. So in this compass cowl by Tin Can Knits, I am doing 2 colors. One is a teal and the other is turquoise. So I'm really enjoying doing the 2-tone as well. And it also means that in the end, when I finish, I don't have to weave in so many ends that the 4-color one made me have to tie in. So what I'm using in this particular 2-tone cowl is, again, I've been using this a lot in projects. It is from Hobium Yarns, and it is the Madame Tricot Paris Cashmere Gold in the colorway teal, or if there is, there's actually no colorway on here, but the number that they give is 018. And this color here, which is what I dyed up, and I used my ball winder for the first time, so yay! So it created this lovely cake, and I dyed this turquoise. It was kind of like I want to say an oatmeal-y color, and I had put it in a bubbling water of teal dye, and it came out just beautifully. Okay, I stopped for a bit of a chocolate break, but also to look up where I found the next pattern that I followed for this whip that I'm going to showcase. And it is a series of tutorials from a YouTube channel called Crochet and Chai. And the project that I followed was called the Mosaic Bucket Bag. So here is what I've gotten from it so far. And I really like the way that the host explains how to do each of the sections of this bucket bag. I'm halfway through section 2 and I'm really enjoying it. So a little bit about the yarn that I'm using. So it calls for choosing 3 different yarns. The base that I'm putting here on the bottom of the bucket bag is this yarn that I soaked in a little bit of grey dye, and it's from Good Earth. Good Earth is a universal yarn, and it's more like twine, so it's not a soft yarn at all. It's quite a fibrous yarn and perfect for project bags or baskets, and it is a combination of linen, cotton, and I'm using that. It's working out really nicely in this bag. The other one that I'm choosing to do in the mosaic section of the bag, which is the small section that you see up here, is this beige color called Safari, and this is also Good Earth, which is a universal yarn, the same kind of fiber base, and I'm pairing it with Lion Brand's hand-dyed Heaven yarn, and it's a variegated blue, like variegated blues, like a light blue, a dark blue, and it's very soft. It's at 3 weight, whereas the Good Earth is a 4 weight, so it's working out fine together with different weights. And this is the label for that hand-dyed Heaven. The colorway of this one is called Greyhound. So now I have to showcase my gift that I got from my brother and sister-in-law and their 2 girls. They sent me a couple of packages from Amazon, and I'll just show you. They are supporting my yarn journey, so I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. So these 2 came in separate Amazon packages, but I don't know why, but they are the Caron 1 pound cakes, and they're in the colorway grass green. And I ordered a lot of this 1 pound yarn before from the Spin Right. Last year they had the big sale, and they had a couple of 1 pound Caron cakes, Caron balls of yarn that I got, and they're in different green colorways. So these will go nicely and coordinate with those colors in maybe a throw or a blanket. So really excited about getting into that. The other thing that they sent me were these 2 Ferris wheel cakes, and it's in the colorway Carousel Vintage. Now I've got a knit pattern that I want to try out, and it has the slip stitch in it, and I haven't done the slip stitch before, but this is enough yarn to go into that project. So really happy about trying that new pattern and that new stitch out. Now I'm going to answer some questions that I gathered over the course of a couple of weeks from my fiber friends, and one of them was, how do I organize my yarn? Well, there's no real rhyme or reason to my organization. I generally get an order in from a company, and I'm normally on a kick of maybe it's a variegated yarn, or maybe it's a stonewash kind of finish, or it could be hand dyed, or it could be a tweed. And generally what happens is I open up a couple of tubs that I've got devoted for storage, and I'll put them wherever they fit, and then I will go to that collection of yarn and use up portions of them or whole skeins. And generally what happens is they end up being half skeins or slightly used skeins, and they end up in this antique behind me. So I generally shop at the antique first to try and clear up whatever it is that I have began using and haven't quite finished up. So this will be my first call to shop behind me, and then if I can't find something, I'll reach out then into the tubs. So this is what a tub would generally look like. I bought these tubs from Michael's, and they're clear so you can see what's in them. And at this point I have knit picks in these this particular tub here, and when I ordered a mystery bag from Hirschner's, that also is partly in this one as well. So what I liked about the tubs that I purchased from Michael's was that they have these trays at the top, and you can use, it's like, I don't know, maybe a 3-inch deep tray, and you can use the top for different things like notions, like buttons, extra needles, extra hooks. And in this particular one I have a collection of yarn that I have used in the past with a little bit of the sample of the yarn around the label. And that's great for like if you have need to maybe make a reference to a yarn, or if you've got a little hole that you need to patch up in a garment, you can come back and get a couple of, maybe there's 2 yards of yarn in each, or half a yard. So there's a little bit there for that I do. And then in the base is where I store my yarn. So it keeps it dust free, keeps the insects off, and keeps it kind of like protected. And I have about 6 of these, I think, in a long cupboard. We have a spare bedroom that we use. It makeshifts into a guest room, into a study, into also yarn storage. So it's a little bit of an all-purpose room that we have. It's not very big, it's small, but we have a built-in closet, and I'm using the space in that to have 6 of those tubs in. So this is where the antique is that I store all of the partly used or slightly used hanks, cakes, and basic any yarn that I'm working on. So I'll shop in here. Now there's a whole section cupboard down below as well, which has something similar to the idea of shop here first kind of thing. The other question that I got was, what would I suggest as a pattern for people who are just learning maybe a new craft, or have not done knitting for a while or crocheting for a while? What would be a suggestion? So that's quite a difficult question to answer, because throughout all different stages of our journey, we find different challenges at various points in our experience. So for me, when I was learning knitting, I really liked the Lion Brand's Fisherman's Cable Cowl, which taught me how to use the 3rd needle, which is the cable needle, and it did the drills as well of the seat stitch. So I was learning 3 or 4 different things all at once. So I was learning how to work in the round, I was learning cables, and I was learning the seat stitch. So for me, that pattern was one that sticks out in my memory. I'll link that down below. Now, some people have been saying to me that they can't find it when they link to the Lion Brand website, but perhaps maybe that pattern is no longer available. I'm not too sure, but that was one. The other one was for color work, and it was the Norwegian star ear flap hat, which I did many versions over Christmas. So I'll link that down below as well. And that was great for teaching me like the 2-finger knitting, like the what I mentioned with the compass cowl was like doing the English and the continental together to get through the project. So that was a really good one as well. For crochet, I would always first go to Crystal from Bagger Day. She has over 600 patterns, and they're all different variations of skill level, but the way that she showcases and explains the pattern as she goes through, she's very thorough. So I'd like to acknowledge some of the YouTubers out there who have commented on my video, and just to say a big thank you and appreciation. I love how this yarning community bring each other up. So to start it off, I want to say thank you to Sandy from Left is Right Crochet. I've been catching up with all of my favorite YouTubers, and I came across a video where Sandy mentions my channel and talks a little bit about me. So I want to say thank you. If you have not seen Sandy from Left is Right Crochet, she's awesome. So go and check her out. She's got a quirky nature, and I love that nature. So keep those videos coming, Sandy. The other person is Tracy from Creatively Tracy. We had a couple of side conversations about how to get over, I guess, the challenges of our comfort zone, and pushing the envelope sometimes on what we want in our stash or what we want to try out. So I'm so happy that she put in her video that she had purchased a Willow's mystery grab bag in the cotton variety, and just I guess the excitement on her face was enough when she was opening all of the yarn that she wasn't expecting. So I am so thankful, Tracy, that you mentioned me in your video. I hope you're doing well as well with your recovery from surgery. I'm also wanting to talk about Z as well. So Z, love you, girl. Oh, is that a heart? Yes, it is. She mentioned me in her car. I think she was at the post office picking up some more, I guess, Happy Mail. And she mentions me and my channel. So I wanted to say thank you, Z. So that catches you up with where I'm at. And I just wanted to touch base that I am not affiliated with any of the yarn that I've discussed or any of the brands. All of the product that I've mentioned has been purchased with my own money and by myself, and I'm not affiliated with any of the brands, so you get my honest opinion. And if you happen to have gotten this far and are a new person visiting, please give me a thumbs up, think about subscribing. That all helps and supports this channel and helps me to move forward. I wanted to say thanks to all of the subscribers who have supported me and all of the fiber friends who always comment. I love them, keep them coming, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.